meeting. First on the agenda is to review the minutes from June 28th. Do you have any questions about them, Earl? My only question, Lori, is how the situation with waste management, any?
As far as I know, they're caught up. There was one person in Baldwinville who, large family, they didn't show up. I called them, they went right out,
Okay.
picked up all their stuff. I don't know why they couldn't do that anyway, but
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Right.
On to the COVID update.
so when I sent these out, it was not my intent to stir up any trouble. I wanted to update you with, when I put Narragansett Regional School District on here, we had just met and shared information. I shared percentages and number of people positive, things like that. In the meantime, they've had their meeting, their school committee meeting. I did watch it on YouTube, and just as a point of information, the school committee at this point has a mandate failed.
Right.
So, but it was not my intention to recommend that you guys do a mandate. It was just informational purposes on here. So as of today, we actually have 11 positive cases, and that's after 6 cleared isolation over the weekend. And when I went out to double check our vaccination percentages and just look at information in general, nothing has changed as far as that goes. So we're still approximately 52% vaccinated in Templeton. We've had 685 cases recover. We're still at 17 deaths, including Baldwinville Nursing Home. We haven't had any other deaths recorded since that. And we're looking at the face coverings are still recommendations with the CDC and MassDPH. And when I was looking at information from the weekend, it appears that Commissioner Riley is meeting tomorrow with regard to face coverings in public schools. They're looking for an 80% vaccination rate for staff and students for middle and high school. We definitely do not meet that at the moment. And I'm kind of waiting to see what happens
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I at this time, I'm not recommending that we mandate. I don't think mandating people be vaccinated either is an answer at this point in time, but that falls to you as a board.
It's a personal choice for many, I mean, for everybody, but I don't think we'd make friends mandating it. So I'll just say that. And I'm vaccinated, but Julie, you had a question?
When you mentioned that there were 52% vaccinated in Templeton, are those people fully vaccinated?
At least one dose is, let's see, that's a total, including people with at least one dose.
Okay.
So the at least one dose is 4,700 people out of what the state is counting as 9,020 people. Fully vaccinated is 4,247.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Fine. What?
Does that include the people who aren't eligible, the 12 and under?
This is 12 through 75 and over. So no, it does not include under 12.
From our point of view, or from mine anyways, we've been following the state and the CDC guidelines. We are not going to override the decision of the Narragansett school system, which I know I had given you some information the other day, Dawn. I wasn't aware that we could. It's a personal choice for people to wear masks at this point. I think tomorrow we're going to find out a lot more information when Commissioner Riley meets with, and everybody gets together and talks about this again. I'm thinking the trend, if Texas did it, and they're saying now they're mandating masks, I have a feeling that might be the case, but I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. We certainly can't make everybody happy. So yes,
If the commissioner does mandate masks, that is just out of your hands. That is the commissioner's.
I believe that is correct.
I don't,
You don't think it is?
I don't think-
It's at that-
no, I think,
If the governor mandates masks,
Then that
That's-
must be a state thing.
then I think it's a state overall.
and that's who he's going to.
And that's
He's
who he's
going to
going
the
through.
governor tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens.
What happens?
We also saw that today Pfizer was
FDA
FDA
approved.
approved, so.
I just
this-
heard on the news right before I came
Yeah.
that children, there's 180,000 cases of children with COVID, which is 5 times more than it was a month ago. So I mean, those numbers are going up too. So I think we just have to wait and see what happens. You know. What's that?
It's very good.
Any other questions? Concerns?
I did want to let you know that contact tracing is still happening through the state, so through the end of the year.
And I know you can go on the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. There was frequently asked questions on August 20th. That's a good place to start if you want to look at that. About how it will be handled. If children have been exposed, all that kind of stuff. So I know that somebody from the school committee is here if you'd like to say anything. No, she's like, aren't you from the school committee? No, why did I think you were? Okay, sorry. I totally thought you were the person from the school committee.
Yeah.
I apologize. Go ahead, Julie.
That just brought up another question, because we have a regional school district.
Right.
So does Templeton take care of the schools in Templeton, and Phillipston would,
I believe there is a school in Phillipston anymore, is there?
Right.
Not right now.
so
So,
it would just be Templeton's Board of Health would.
Phillipston does have input
Okay.
because people live in Phillipston. so
Right, I didn't know
they
how that
definitely
all
have-
worked. Yeah.
and I don't know how. Talk to them about Phillipston.
The public health nurses cover both Templeton and Phillipston, so when they're not available, they usually speak for Phillipston.
Okay, and I can assume that the public health nurses were involved in the.
Yep.
In the
Prior to, yeah,
prior, yeah.
the conversation and the information. It was information.
Yes, what we can say is that we'll wait till tomorrow to see what happens. Go from there. School, we got another week and a half.
Every time we have a meeting, it changes the next day.
Yes,
So
so we should have our meetings on Wednesday. I don't know. Not sure. So, all right, any other questions? Good, okay. So the Board of Health activities in June and July, any questions on those? And Lori, thanks, you've been busy as usual.
everybody's been busy.
Yeah. Do not have any questions.
No. I'm just reading something I missed. earlier. Motion to accept.
Okay. Earl accepts. We'll move on to number 4, the textile recycling. If you noticed when you came in, the little sign and then the boxes out there.
Yes, so in 2022, MassDEP will be setting up a regulation for the recycling of textiles. So we took the opportunity to have 2 boxes placed here at Town Hall. Textiles includes sheets, towels, old clothes, pocketbooks, anything you can think of that's material based. What'll happen is they'll get recycled through the program. Some of it will, anything that's in decent condition will get turned around by the company and reprocessed and put in stores for sale. Salvation Army, things like that, different places that they use. And anything that isn't salvageable will be bundled up and used for things like insulation. They sell it by the pound, and Templeton will actually get 5 cents per pound for anything that goes through those boxes. What we do ask is that nobody leave anything in front of it, beside it, on top of it. Please, if it doesn't go in, hang on to it till it gets emptied. Right now, they're going to be emptied weekly. They'll be checked on. And hopefully it will reduce the amount of textiles going into the landfills. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody have any questions about that? It's a good idea. It's cool. All right, moving on to community septic loan request for 196 Brooks Road.
So 196 Brooks Road has a failing Title V, and they are asking to community septic loan program. We're having a problem getting short bids.
Okay.
We like to have 3 bids. It's part of the requirement, and they are so busy right now that we're not getting 3 bids. He's working on 2 others. So right now with the 1 bid I do have, it's a total of $20,875. My fear is that I'm going to have to come back to you if he gets other bids. And it's not a fear, I'll have to come back to you. But I would like to go ahead and with this bid, get an approval if I can, because I'd like to see this go forward.
So
I have all his paperwork.
work is there.
Yep. His taxes are up to date, and I have a copy of his deed. So we have everything we need, with the exception of 2 bids.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, no.
Get it going.
So I need a, I need a
I
vote.
would make a motion.
I'll accept.
Go forward with that.
If anything, it would be less.
Okay. Perfect. Right along to the MassDEP.
The air sensors. So I think I gave you guys a
You
copy. What this is Select Board member Terry Griffiths and Adam Montaigne were working on this grant. And the reason we're involved is because reporting is going to actually be from our office. So they applied for 5 sensors. They would be put on town buildings, as I understand it right now. There'll be an app that our town residents can tap into, and it just gives people an idea of the air quality for that particular moment. So if we did have, we had the wildfires in Canada and California, and it was pretty smoky here, I guess, a few weeks ago, and we had somebody who was panicked because they thought there was a fire in Templeton. If air quality is below a certain point, we can actually put a notice out for residents so that they know. So anybody with breathing issues, COPD, whatever, can stay indoors. Know what's going on.
Where did they go on the building? Is that what you said? Where did they go?
They go on the
On the building, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that was just to update you that we'll be involved with it.
Great, so moving along to Pine Point, nuisance noise issue.
So John is here.
You're John? Okay, thank you.
He is 19 Pine Point, and I got a call from 23 Pine Point that one of the parties is in the hospital, so they are unable to attend. During that phone call, I was told that the rooster has now been removed. Have you heard it?
It's been raining, so it's tough to tell.
Okay. So this has been a back and forth for almost 2 years now.
Okay.
It goes away, it comes back, or it's a new one, and I understand that the other party raises fowl,
Mhm.
and that at some point in time, you're going to need a rooster in order to do that. We have 2 members
Can say
from the Ag Commission here at my invitation,
for coming.
and I was hoping to have a dialogue to settle this.
Yes.
Otherwise, and I'm sorry, it may have to go before the select board for final resolution. We thought it was resolved. I did a full walk around.
It was gone, correct?
There was no rooster when I was there.
And the rooster was back.
2 days later,
Very next morning, I gave the police department a call, just have it logged. you know.
and the officer did confirm that there was a rooster and that the noise was happening.
I know I had asked Lori, because it's a right to farm community, anything you guys have to say to add?
Oh, thanks.
I'll cover
She
you.
likes to talk.
No, I mean, as we understand it, the person with the offending rooster has over 5 acre property, which is considered agricultural, even though we are an agricultural community. So that's not necessarily would not necessarily have to be the point. In no way does Templeton, I feel, want to do a rooster ban as many other communities do, because that's not what we're about. We kind of saw this, Mr. Pease and I kind of discussed this more as a, how do I say it, being kind to your neighbor, being considerate of your neighbor. We believe that probably the person has the right to have these animals. However, being a human being in a neighborhood, you also have a right to be respectful. So that's kind of where we were going to be coming from in a mediation was, how do we resolve this so that we can reach an agreement between the parties?
That if the rooster was moved?
Well, he said,
Further away
he said
from
he was
here.
moving 3 times.
Okay.
I went to him 3 times, you know.
And you're being a nice neighbor going to him.
By the 3rd time, it escalated to the point where he said what he could do, very vindictive. I mean, basically give me a nice, I gave him the option to move it. I come back, he said I got rid of 24 chickens. Chickens were never the problem.
Yeah.
Then came back and he got rid of goats. Goats were never the problem. Mainly the peacocks and the roosters, because he was up to about 3 or 4 roosters at one point. And they would set up the peacock. It was an all-day thing.
So you would be happy if they would move the pen away?
They haven't even tried it.
Okay,
They haven't
but
even-
that would solve the issue, I think.
And that probably would be the issue that we would come out in mediation would be, you know, what can we do, you know, to solve this problem for both parties?
I never once said get rid of them.
Right, yeah. Or the goats.
I went there, I said, is it possible to move it? He said, hey, wait a minute. He said, piss off the other neighbors.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm the closest neighbor.
I know I have neighbors with chickens and it took me about a month to figure out what was making the noise. I'm like, what is that noise I keep hearing when I'm in my
But it was
yard?
never the chickens
But
are
yeah,
not-
they're not an issue. It's
Yeah.
like, what is it? It's just like, what's coming, where is that coming from? So, yeah,
Mainly
but the
roosters,
roosters
it
are,
starts about 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I grew up with the rooster next door. yeah,
And And I timed it, so every 45 seconds. I mean, it got, it's really, it's rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's very rough.
Hopefully I mean, I would recommend that we bring this to the next meeting. Hopefully someone can come.
We can. On August 10th, Mr. Fontaine actually, at my request, he let me onto his property. We walked the property together and
Did he say he had no roosters?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And then
at
they're
that point in
vaccinated.
time. And everything, I mean, it's clean.
Right.
It's a good situation other than the noise. And during that inspection, that walk, he stated that he would move the peacocks to the other side and that there would be no rooster on that side. And
They were free roaming. So they come right to my property line.
The peacocks or the roosters? The roosters? Oh, wow.
Free
Okay.
roaming. So, I mean, they've never been put back. They were free roaming. They come right to the property line. And they start calling for food.
Yeah.
It's just really tough. Wake up really early with that. And I tried every outlet. I tried talking to him, and I talked to Dave, talked to Lori, talked to the police department, talked to animal control. No one really has jurisdiction.
We have jurisdiction over noise.
over noise, right? So after talking to Mr. Fontaine today, he said that they were gone. It's raining, as Mr. Rick has stated, so I mean, maybe we can wait till the end of the week and you can let me know.
It's tough because I can't approach him. I can't see him.
Right.
So I went 3 times. The very first time was it was very nice talk. And since then, it just, I bite my tongue. I can't even, I mean, it's tough. Like, not even able to say, because he's in his backyard, and I
Yeah.
can see him. You know, and I asked him, and the very last time I asked him, he called the police department, said I was harassing him.
Okay.
To the point where, but I was in my backyard. Never once did I approach him, but I saw him. I acknowledged him. You know, it's tough when you see your neighbor. He's been my neighbor 15 years.
Okay.
When I first moved there,
I wondered if you were new neighbors. I'm like, going, he
No,
was a
we-
new neighbor, but you've been
but
there.
he
15
started
years.
with a smaller property.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time, there was no farm. And what, 2009, 2000, the right to farm was 2009, I believe. First notice. So when I bought my house, there wasn't the right to farm.
Okay.
So I didn't move into the right to farm. I didn't move into knowing that he had a farm. You know, so basically this is all afterwards.
The state regulations have always been in place, so there always has been
Yes.
a right to farm in Massachusetts. So the town adopting that is just making that known about the right to farm in the Commonwealth of
So does
Massachusetts.
that pertain to pre-existing farms more than residential?
Well, it pertains more towards commercial enterprises where you are conducting an agricultural activity. So, and commercial is really, it's very ambiguous and decidedly so that each town can kind of go with what feels right for their community.
See, I know he had about 2 acres to start off with. And he was a caretaker for the other 4 acres. I think he inherited that in 2007.
I was just really hoping to hash it out
Right.
tonight and provide a buffer for both parties. And
I mean, we'll come back if it comes
if
back
we
up.
need to,
If it comes back up and we need to sit down with all parties, we're happy to come back.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
in the meantime, I'll cross my fingers.
Yes.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah. Hopefully it's,
It was mainly an issue when he was homeschooled last year because of
oh,
COVID.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And I went over and he said, what is your son afraid of chickens? So it's almost like, that's not even the issue. The roosters are the issue. He just, you know, he
It's
just-
a distraction. for
he's never
sure.
said sorry. He's never, you know, I know he doesn't have to say sorry.
Yeah.
He's never acknowledged that, hey, this is still affecting you. And did this solution work if you didn't say something? He's just never, there's no contact.
You let me know. And we'll reschedule if we have to.
Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Right. Any other? I don't have any other comments. And then we get all the alerts today about the tornadoes.
Today?
Yeah. I get them for being on the Board of Health, but I work in Lunenburg and my parents live in Berlin and she works in Clinton, and it's like all the roads they were saying on the news, and the woman kept going, don't anybody be alerted. I mean, the newscaster, it was awful. I'm looking at my patient going, do you feel concerned? Because this woman is kind of going crazy here. She goes, yeah. And all the roads were like, all of them led to where my parents live. And then my sister called them and they were like, yeah, it's nice out. Like they had no clue that anything was going on. So it's like,
sunny like the whole time.
yeah, it was crazy. So anyways, just all the alerts. That was my comment. Any comments from any members? No?
So I have our next meeting scheduled as September 27th. I didn't know if you wanted me to look, if you wanted a sooner date,
That's,
or if you want to leave it at this for right now and we can insert ourselves earlier if we need to.
yep, I'm fine with that. No, it says in person, so. All right, then I guess we are
It's quick.
ready. If someone wants to make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Earl made a motion and Laura seconded. Fun straight there, right? 20